the new teller. Oops, I just read that they're going to have a new cowgirl sing songster and storyteller from Montana at Jonesboro this year. And I think that's exciting. You all in Oklahoma, have you heard from Connie Neal and his wife recently? Are they doing okay?
I've had some email exchanges, but I haven't been on the phone with them for a while. But last couple of days, I've had a couple exchanges because I had to send them the link because they hadn't gotten the link.
Oh, uh-huh.
But they haven't shown up either, so I'm kind of concerned about that.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes, amazingly enough, we have other things to do in our lives. Which is why I won't be here tonight for, and I'm really sorry for Laura's thing, because I, last minute, going out and telling stories for TSA.
Well, I think it's time to start.
Oh, good.
Welcome, everyone, to the Spotlight on Youth Tellers concert. I'm your MC, Valerie Kimball. The Territory Tellers are thrilled to bring you some very talented young storytellers. The first three are from the Zula B. Wiley Public Library in Cedar Hill, Texas, and two slightly older but very talented ones from the Chickasaw Nation Storytelling Apprentice Program here in Oklahoma. I want to recognize the coach and mentor of these programs, Tony Simmons, a master storyteller from Texas, and Stephanie Scott from the Chickasaw Nation, whom we were fortunate enough to hear at last night's evening concert. They have fostered the exceptional and gifted young performers we are about to hear. Thanks to Tony and Stephanie. Our first teller is Sanaya Jorday McGrew. She's 13 years old and has been involved in storytelling since she was 6. Sanaya is an honor student and an athlete. She plays the violin and is a member of the National Association of Black Storytellers and the Community Baptist Church. Sanaya could not be here in person today, but she's provided a video. So let's sit back and listen to Sanaya McGrew.
Hi, I'm Sanaya McGrew, and today I'll be telling you the story of the fisherman and his wife. Once, a long time ago, there was a fisherman named John, and John was married to a beautiful woman named Patrice. John just loved Patrice, and he didn't want to do anything to make her unhappy. Every day, John and Patrice had a routine. John would wake up, give Patrice a kiss, put on his clothes, eat his breakfast, then he'd row to sea, put his rod into the water, and then he'd wait and wait and wait until he got a bite. Then when it was around lunchtime, he put his rod back into the boat, rowed ashore, walk in the house to see Patrice making lunch. Then he and Patrice, they'd eat, catch up on their day. Then he'd go right back out into the sea, put his rod back into the water, and he'd wait and wait and wait some more until he got a bite. And around dinner time, he put the rod back into the boat, row back to shore, and eat dinner with Patrice. But one day, some things changed. The morning routine, it was the same. John woke up, gave Patrice a kiss, put on his clothes, ate his breakfast, then he rowed out to sea, put his rod into the water, then he waited and waited and waited until he got a bite. And it was almost lunchtime, but he felt something. Finally, a fish. But this one, it was a big one. So he reeled it in, pulled and pulled and pulled, and yanked the rod up out of the water. And this fish was beautiful. The scales were the color of the rainbow, and it was just breathtaking. John didn't know what to say, but the fish did. Oh my God, I can't believe this happened. Oh my God. Oh, fisherman, can you please let me go? Well, I don't know. This is my job, said John. Oh, I know, but we magical fish, we never taste good. You wouldn't want me now, would ya? Well, how about this? Since I am a magical fish, I'll grant you any wish you want. What do you say, oh buddy, oh pal? Okay, said John. Oh, thank you, fisherman. Thank you so much, said the fish. The fish went back into the water and swam home. John was so excited he just had to tell Patrice. So he ran home, opened the door and said, Patrice, you won't believe what happened. Oh, what is it, John, said Patrice. Patrice woke up a little bit late. Oh my God, Patrice, I was just out in the water and I caught a fish. Well, that's a shock, said Patrice. Oh, and this fish, it was beautiful, just breathtaking. And it said if I would let it go, then it would grant me any wish I wanted. So what did you wish for, said Patrice. I wished for, oh God, I forgot to wish for something. Oh, what is wrong with you, John? You see what we live in? We live in a shack. Who wants to live in a shack? Not me. I want to live in, I don't know, a cottage. That's what you could have asked for. Now go right back out into sea and ask that fish for a cottage. Oh, of course, my love. Like I said, John doesn't want to do anything to make Patrice unhappy. So he rowed back out to sea and called for the fish. Fish, oh magical fish, where are you? The fish swam up, rose up out of the water and said, how can I help you, fisherman? My wife kind of sort of doesn't want to live in our shack anymore and she now wants a cottage. Can you do that for me? Oh, why, of course, it's a cottage. How hard can that be? John rowed home and he saw a beautiful cottage. Patrice was dancing around. Oh, I love it, John. I just love it so much. And for a few weeks, they were happy. But then Patrice started to get sad. Oh, John, I love this cottage, but I don't know, it's something about it. Oh, well, what is it, my love? I know, I want to live in a palace. A palace? But it's just you and me here. We don't need something that big. Oh, come on, John, please, for me. Oh, well, good. Now go out to sea and go ask that fish for a palace. Like I said, John didn't want to do anything to make Patrice unhappy, so he rowed back out to sea and called for the fish. Fish, oh magical fish, where are you? The fish swam up to the boat, rose up out of the water, and said, oh yes, fisherman, how can I help you? No, my wife kind of wants to live in a palace. Can you do that for me? Why, of course, fisherman. John rowed back home and saw this huge, beautiful palace. It was ginormous. Like mansions, it was even bigger than a modern mansion. And Patrice was dancing around. She said, I just love it, John. And for a few weeks, they were happy. But then Patrice started to get sad. Oh, John, I love this palace. I really do, but it's not fit for us. We're fisherman and his wife. This palace is fit for king and queen. But I don't want to be king. Well, of course you don't, but I want to be queen. And if I'm queen, that means you have to be king. Well, good. Now go out to sea and tell that fish that I want to be queen. And I guess you're the king. Now, like I said, John doesn't want to do anything to make Patrice unhappy. So he rowed back to sea and called for the fish. Fish, oh magical fish, where are you? The fish swam into the boat, rose up out of the water and said, yes, fisherman, how may I help you? Well, now Patrice kind of wants to become a queen. Oh, and she said if she's queen, then I have to be king. Well, sure, said the fish. John rowed back to shore and saw that at the palace was a long line of people. He went up to one of the people and they just bowed to him. Well, what's going on? So he walked up to the doors of his palace and saw there were 2 large guards. They opened the doors and said, Your Majesty. Oh, I'm the king, said John. So he walked into the palace and sat on his throne next to Patrice and said, "This is the life." And for a few days, he and Patrice were happy. But then Patrice started to get sad. "Oh, yes, all these people love me because I'm the queen, and I guess because you're the king, but I want something more. I want to be more powerful." "Well, I mean, the only thing I can think of that's more powerful than you is probably the emperor, but that's upset." "Oh, no. Yes, that's exactly what I want to be. I want to be the emperor." "Oh, well, I guess." "Good. Now go out to sea and tell that fish that I want to be emperor." So, like I said, John does not like to make Patrice unhappy. So he rode to sea and called for the fish. "Fish, oh magical fish, where are you?" "Yes. How may I help you, fisherman?" "Oh, well, now my wife kind of wants to be the emperor." "The emperor? Well, okay." John rode back to the house and he saw the line was even longer. He walked up to the doors. His guards opened the doors, but they didn't say, "Your Majesty," this time. But he walked in and he saw there was only one throne, and Patrice was sitting on it. She was in beautiful empress's clothes. And she said, "Go back to the room. I don't need you here." John kind of felt sad, but he said, "Okay." He went into his room and it was so comfortable. And for a few weeks, he and Patrice were happy. But Patrice started to get sad. "Oh, John, I mean, I love being the emperor, but whenever I'm walking in my beautiful garden, the sun, the sun is just over me and it's blocking me. You know what? I think I want to be the sun." "Well, then, but you can't be with me." "Oh, pish posh. Now go in to sea and tell that fish that I want to be the sun." Okay, like I said, John does not like to make Patrice unhappy. So he rode to sea and called for the fish. "Fish, oh magical fish, where are you?" The fish swam up to the boat, rose up out of the water and said, "Look, man, you're wasting a lot of my time. What is it?" "Well, my wife kind of wants to be the sun." "The sun? That's a little crazy, don't you think?" "Well, yes, but it is my wife." "Oh, whatever." So John rowed back to shore, and Patrice wasn't there. Neither was a palace, just a house. And he looked up and saw that Patrice was the sun. And she looked quite happy. And for a few days she was. But then she called down, "Oh, John, I think that I could be better than this. You know what? I want to be the controller of everything." "Everything?" "Well, yes. Now go out to sea and tell that fish that I want to be the controller of everything." Like I said, John does not like to make Patrice unhappy. So he rowed out to sea, called for the fish. "Fish, a magical fish, where are you?" You get the gist. The fish rowed up to the boat and said, "Look, man, this is your last wish." Well, okay, but now my wife wants to be the controller of everything." Fine, whatever, just go on." So John rowed back home and saw that Patrice was sitting there. And around her the weather was changing, winds were blowing here and there, and she looks quite happy. I mean, John wasn't, but she was, and that was enough for him. And for a few days, she was happy. But then she started getting headaches. "Oh, John, this is painful. This is draining. I wish everything was back to the way it was." "Finally," said John. So he rowed back to sea and called for the fish. "Fish, oh magical fish, where are you?" "Fisherman, like I said, your last one." "Oh, yes, this will be the last one. My wife wants everything back to normal. Can you do that for us?" "Sure. Now, you sure this is your last one?" "Yep." "Good." So John rode back home. He was so excited. And there was Patrice coming out of the shack with his lunch. "Hi, dear." And that is the story of the fisherman and his wife. The end.
Oh, you're on mute, Valerie.
I love that version that Sanaya did. That was great. That's one of my favorite stories. Our next teller is with us, and it's wonderful. Her name is Rebecca Garcia, and we are thrilled that she could be here today. Rebecca is 12 years old and has been involved with storytelling for almost 4 years. She loves animals, nature, and wildlife in general. She aspires to be a zoologist one day and a part-time librarian. Rebecca said that she enjoys telling stories because it opens the world of imagination and creativity to listeners. So please welcome Rebecca Garcia.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Garcia, and today I'll be sharing you a true experience that I like to call I Promise I Wasn't Dreaming. Okay, you're probably not gonna believe me, and you're probably just gonna think I'm crazy or something, but last night I was abducted by aliens. I think it'd be easier to explain if I just started from the beginning. So there I was, lying on my bed, trying to go to sleep, but not being able to because I was still deciding on the story to tell. I know, I probably shouldn't have waited until last minute, but it was especially hard to choose a story to tell this time because I wanted it to be original, unique, something that no one has ever heard before. But as I learned the hard way, for me, it's a lot harder to make a story than to choose one. So I was lying on my bed, rethinking all of life's choices, when I saw a bright light outside. Probably just a car, I told myself, but the light kept on getting brighter and brighter, and it seemed like it was shining on me, like a giant spotlight. And when it seemed like it couldn't get any brighter, I felt myself starting to rise. I looked down and I was floating. I hung to my blanket for dear life, and my window opened by itself. I was being taken outside by an invisible force. I looked at where the light was coming from, and I saw a giant metal frisbee looking thing. Then everything went black. When I woke up, I was in a cold, bright room surrounded by aliens. I had seen plenty of alien movies to know what was going to happen next. Please don't take my brain, I begged. I need that for school and to live. We're not going to take your brains, the alien said. Or, well, they didn't say it. It was like I heard it, but not through my ears. In my head, like it was being transmitted directly into my brain. It was so cool. Hey, maybe after having a whole conversation with them, I can do it too. Okay, get ready. Wow, I'm so good at this. I'm practically an alien now. Anyways, we're not gonna take your brains, they said. That's barbaric. I was confused. In the movies, they always take your brains for a test or something. So I said, if you're not gonna take my brains, then why am I here? Ah, yes, they began. Well, we have been studying humans on Earth, looking if there was anything special about them, if they're a friend or a foe or some type of intelligent mushroom. But we haven't been really able to find anything special about them. But one day we were losing hope and we decided we should investigate the life of kids on Earth because The children are the future, you know. So while we were investigating them, we found something extraordinary. Kids were taking plain, old, simple things and making them unique, inspiring, interesting, and sometimes even crazy. We did more investigation and found that this was called creativity. We were so amazed, and we learned that there were different ways to be creative. Some kids sang and danced and drew or played the instrument, and some even storytelled, like you. So we were wondering, and we just had to abduct you to bring you here and ask you, why be creative? I explained to the aliens that creativity is like leaving a piece of yourself everywhere you go, making it unique. And creativity can bring people together and solve problems. I told them I couldn't imagine a world without creativity on it. So after that, me and the aliens talked and chatted like we were old best friends. We talked about alien food, the best tourist sites in the galaxy. Oh, and the number 42. But we said our goodbyes and they dropped me off on Earth. When I woke up the next morning, I planned to keep the story a secret. You know, aliens and all. But then I remembered my conversation with the aliens. And I really just couldn't keep the story to myself. So there it is. I hope you enjoyed my story. I'll probably be taken to Area 51 in a couple of minutes, but it would have been worth it. So keep on telling your stories. Be creative. Think outside of the box. Let your imagination run wild. And maybe, just maybe, one day you'll be abducted by aliens too.
Oh, Rebecca, that was fabulous. Thank you. I love that story. Great job. Great job. Our next teller is Karen Diane Lee. Because of a scheduling conflict, Karen sent a video. She's currently in 8th grade and captain of her dance and cheer teams. Her favorite school subject is social studies because she enjoys learning about other cultures. She likes telling stories to younger kids and to seniors in nursing homes. Karen really likes listening to others tell stories, especially her grandmas. Here is Karen Lee.
Hello, my name is Karen Lee, and today I'm going to be telling you the story of the empty pot, a Chinese folktale. Long, long ago in China, there was a boy named Ping, and anything Ping grew would just burst into bloom, whether it was vegetables or flowers or herbs or fruits, you name it, it would grow like magic. Ping's kingdom also loved flowers. The whole land was covered in them, and everywhere you went, the air smelled like perfume. And guess what? The emperor of the land also loved flowers. He had a garden of his very own that he would tend to every single day. But there was only one problem in all of the land, and it all came back to the emperor. The emperor was getting very, very old, very, very quickly. So he needed to find a successor. But the questions were, how would he find someone, and who would it be? Well, the emperor thought and thought till he came up with an idea. The thing I love most, I'll choose the next emperor. And well, the thing that he loved most were his flowers. Yes, the flowers would choose the next emperor. So the emperor sat down and he wrote out a document and he sent it out to the families of the land. And when the families received the document, it said, the families of the land are to send their children to the palace on the said date, and there the next emperor shall be chosen. And from that document, the lands and all the families, they were just erupting in anticipation and excitement. Every parent wanted their child to be the next emperor, and every child wanted to be the next emperor themselves. So on the set date, All the children, including Ping, went up to the palace to get instructions on how to be the emperor. When they all sat down to listen, the emperor said this: "Here, I shall give you each a seed. Whoever can show me their best within a year's time shall become the next emperor." And then the emperor went by and placed the seed in the palm of each child's hand and sent them home. And all the children went home excited, but Ping. Ping was the happiest child of them all. Ping just knew he could grow the best flower, and he knew that was his talent, his hobby. He just knew that he could be the best and be the next emperor. So when he got home, he got straight to work. He took out his best pot and he got his best soil, and he placed the seed down so carefully and patted the soil so carefully and put it out in the sun, let it shine, and waited for it to grow. After 2 days, there was no sprout, but it was okay. Ping was gonna wait till the end of the week. He checked again at the end of the week, and still nothing had happened. So Ping thought, well, maybe the pot isn't big enough, or maybe the soil isn't rich enough. So he got another pot, and he got his darker, richer soil, transferred it, patted the seed on top, let it out in the sun to shine. But still, he waited. Nothing happened. And then it was 3 months, 6, 9 months, 12, and the year was over, and it was time to show the emperor the results. Well, Ping picked up his empty pot. That was all he had. He took it to the emperor. And on his way there, he saw the other children with their beautiful, beautiful pots full of these beautiful exotic flowers. They were so pretty, and all Ping could do was hang his head and feel ashamed. Well, as he was going there, he ran into his friend, and his friend stopped him. He said, "Ping, are you really going to the emperor with an empty pot? How come you can grow a beautiful flower like mine?" Well, Ping stopped and he thought, and he said, "I've grown tons of flowers better than yours. I just couldn't get the seed to grow." Well, Ping's father overheard all of this, and he said, "What matters most is that you did your best, and you're coming to the emperor with your best." And with that, they all headed inside. When they got inside, it was just as loud and bustling as the outside. All the children were trying to make their pots sing. "Emperor, look at my pot. Look at my flower. Isn't it beautiful? Emperor, don't you like mine's best? I'm the next emperor, right?" But Ping just sat there. He was embarrassed. And soon the emperor began to walk between the rows of children. And he looked, and he looked, and even though he loved flowers, his face was still unhappy almost. He looked until he came to Ping, and he stopped. He said, "How come you have come to me with an empty pot?" And those words were all it took for Ping to break down. "Oh, Emperor, I tried everything. I tried to make the seed grow, and I put it in another pot, and I watered it, and I did everything, and then I got the sun to shine, and no matter what I did, I couldn't get it to grow. So this is my best. This is what I came here with." And with that breakdown, the emperor began to finally smile. And he smiled really big. He turned to everyone and he said, "We have found our next emperor." He said, "I do not know where you all got your seeds from, for the ones I gave out were boiled so that they could not grow. But I admire Ping for coming to me with such bravery, and now he shall become the next emperor because he came to me with the empty truth." And that is the story of the empty pot. And that is how Ping is now the most truthful and best emperor.
Hope you're muted again, Valerie.
Thank you. That was wonderful. I'm so sorry that Karen couldn't be here in person to hear our compliments. Our next storyteller is with us. Her name is Ashton Rollins, and she is from Oklahoma. When I asked her to tell me a little bit about herself via email, Ashton wrote, I grew up around the ladies who are now master storytellers for the Chickasaw Nation. I'm 23 years old, and I officially started telling stories about 11 years ago at a junior storytellers event, and it took off from there. Now I'm about to graduate from our Master Apprentice program. Ashton is going to tell how Woodpecker came to be, and I can't wait to hear it. Please join me in welcoming Ashton Rollins.
Hi, everyone. So like Miss Kimball has said, I started telling stories with the Chickasaw Nation from very young. And one of the first things that they start us off with is an origin story, a creation story, how something came to be. And there are so many of them to choose from, but the one that I picked is one that has stuck to me because of how interesting I found it to be. Now, this started off way long ago out in a tiny little village. And just outside of this little village, there was a mean old lady. Now, you could tell she was coming around just by the look of her. She always wore a very long black dress, her pristine white apron, and a red cloth to hide her hair. Now, she was so mean that the other villagers didn't really want to bother her and didn't really mind when she moved just outside of the village because of how rude she could be to some people. Now, one day while she was minding her business around dinner time, she heard a knock on the door. And she goes and thinks, who could be knocking on my door at this time of night? And she goes to the door and there's this old, thin, sick-looking man. And he says, please, madam, do you have anything for me to eat? I haven't had food for days. Even just a little bit of anything, a crumb would be enough for me. Please, do you have anything you could share for me? And she thinks for a moment and she says, hold on, I'll go check. And she goes to her kitchen area and there's some fry bread from the night before. And it was still really good. So she ate it all up as fast as she could, wiped off her mouth and her hands on her apron and went to the door and said, I don't have any food for you. I'm so sorry. Come again tomorrow. I'm sure I'll have something for you then. And slams the door in his face. And she forgets about it. Well, the next day comes around and she hears another knock on the door. And she goes and it's the same old man. And he said, please, do you have anything for me to eat? You said I could come back today. Please, anything would be enough for me. Just anything you can spare. She says, hold on, I'll go check. And she goes to her kitchen area and there's some great dumplings from the night before. And you know what? They're still really good. So she eats them all up as fast as she can, wipes off her mouth because they can get very messy when you eat them. Wipes off her hands a little bit, goes to the door and says, oh, I don't have any food for you today. I'm so sorry. Come again tomorrow. I'm sure I'll have something for you then. And slams the door in his face. Well, the third day comes around and she hears the knock again. She's a bit hesitant to open the door because she's worried she knows exactly who it is. And she opens it and there's that same man again. And he says, please, do you have anything you can spare for me to eat? Anything at all? Oh, I'll go check. Just give me a minute. Give me a minute. And she goes and there's some corn soup from the day before. That's still really good. And she eats it all up as fast as she can, dusts off her apron, goes, I don't have any food for you. I'm so sorry. I wish there was something I could do. Oh, come again tomorrow. I'm sure I'll have something for you then. And slams the door. For the fourth day in a row, she is very tired of hearing the knocking on her door. And she opens it and sees that same man again. And he says, please, surely this time you have something for me to eat. Oh, don't worry, I'll check. I'll double check for you just in case. And she goes, and there's some meat from the day before that's still really good and tender. And she eats it as fast as she can, wipes off her face and hands, goes to the door. I'm sorry, I don't have anything for you to eat. I checked everywhere. There's not a crumb for me to spare for you. Maybe you can come again tomorrow and I'll have something for you then. And as she's trying to shut the door, he stops her this time. And he looks at the woman and says, for 4 days now, I have asked you if you could spare any food for me to eat. And for 4 days, you have told me that you had not a crumb to spare when I could clearly see the remains of the food on your apron and dress. So from now on, you will have to knock in order to get your food. Because this old, sickly looking man was the creator in disguise trying to test her. And so he turned her into the woodpecker you think of today. And to this day, she's still knocking on wood to get her food. And that's the story of how woodpecker came to be.
That's lovely. Thank you so much, Ashton. What a great story. I'd never heard that one. It's marvelous. Well, our last storyteller today is Brooke Shackelford Reed. Brooke could not be here in person, but she also sent a video. Now, Brooke is a young adult. She's an Oklahoma freelance artist who loves sharing her native culture and connecting communities, especially by sharing tales. From entertaining her family as a child, to presenting across the state as a teen, to her current career in film and television, Brooke has spent the majority of her life telling stories. Let's watch her now. Brooke Shackelford Reed.
A long time ago, things were different than they are now. But not too much. See, winter was cold, summer was hot. Obviously, people would want to go swim. The thing was, when they went out to the water, there was this plant there that was very, very poisonous. They had to be careful, because if they touched it, they would get very sick. Well, the plant, she didn't actually want to be that way. See, she enjoyed seeing the people come to the water and splash and play and hearing the children laugh as they swam. So, she eventually, getting tired of hurting people, went to the Creator and asked, "What can I do? How can I be here when I'm hurting people? Can I get rid of this poison?" He says, "Well, I'm not going to destroy what I've created, but I will allow you to give it to those who might need it." So they set apart a designated day and let everyone know that on this day they could come and get some of the poison. And when the day came, many, many animals arrived and came to the water to take some from her. But before they got started, she said, "Listen, before I let anyone have any of my poison, I want to make it very clear that I'm only going to share to those who really need it, and I'm not going to give it out just so that you can hurt others." Well, after she said that, many of the animals left because they didn't actually have a good reason. So she looked around and saw that some of them had stayed, which made her glad. And of those, the first to come to her were some of the insects, like the bees and the wasps. And they came up and they said, "Hey, we're very small and we get swatted at and squished all the time. And we don't want to be squished, obviously." And the bees in particular said, "We also spend all this time making honey and storing it up for winter. And a lot of times all of it's taken. So we just want maybe some poison to protect us and our food for our children." She said, "Well, that's a fair reason. But tell me, what are you going to do before you sting someone and hurt them with the poison? What will you do to warn them first?" And they said, "Well, we're small and we're quiet, but I suppose if we all group together and buzz around together in a swarm, we would be loud enough. And, we'd be loud enough for people to hear." And she thought, "That's a good idea. Well, if you agree to do that, I will agree to allow you to have some of my poison." Next came up a rattlesnake, and the rattlesnake said, "Hey, I would like to have some of this too. You see, I crawl low to the ground and they don't always see me. And sometimes when they do, sometimes the children aren't very nice. They'll step on me or they'll pick me up and sling me around and throw me. And I really don't like that. I'm tired of being hurt. Could I have some of your poison to protect myself?" "Yes," she says, "I'll let you, but what are you going to do to warn them?" Rattlesnake said, "That's easy. I have this rattle on my tail. All I have to do is shake it, and I'll shake it to let them know that I'm here. And if I have that poison, that'll be enough. If they know I have that, then they'll stop bothering me." this was good. So she gave him some of her poison. And the next snakes, the copperheads, the water moccasins, and a variety of other snakes and insects and small animals that all could use some help protecting themselves, she shared. And by the time they had all come, she used up all of her poison. And this made her very, very happy. So the day was over, and the next day came, and it was different. The people came to the water to splash and swim, and they saw her, but now she had a beautiful flower on her. Can you guess what this water plant is? Well, it's the water lily. I have another story about going down to the water. See, this one, again, is about plants. And many, many years ago, people, they had a lot more work to do than we do now. We have a lot of conveniences with our cars and our refrigerators and our, electricity and plumbing. People didn't have that. So one of the things that they would have to do is they would have to walk down to the water to gather things. So they decided that with all the many things that they needed to get done, they were going to make a doll. And this doll would help play with the children and watch after them. But she would also help with some of the chores. So they made this little corn husk doll. And they made her very beautiful, with a beautiful face. And at first, everything was good. She would run and play with the children and watch that they didn't get in trouble, and she helped look after them a little bit. And after a while, they gave her some more chores, and one was to go to the river and help get some water. So she went down, but then she began to start spending more and more time down by the water because she realized that she was, in fact, beautiful. And she just began to get more and more vain. I don't want to spend time with them. I want to look at my reflection. She'd spend all day looking at her reflection. And she stopped doing her chores, too. Why should she have to do chores when she was so beautiful? No one as beautiful as her should have to work. No one as beautiful as her should spend time with others who were not so pretty. Well, this was displeasing to all. And so the Creator above, he did not approve of this either, and he took away her face. So then one morning when she went down to the river, it was gone. Her face was plain, nothing, just the corn husks. So from then on, any time that the people made these dolls, more dolls, they never put faces on them. And this is a reminder that it doesn't matter how you look. You should help others and not be concerned with your own vanity. It looks like I have a few minutes left, so I'll give you one more story about vanity. No water, but a similar topic. Long time ago, Possum had a beautiful tail. The most beautiful of all tails. It was long, it was soft, it was silky, it was fluffy, and he knew how beautiful it was, and he loved his tail more than anything else. And he would tell everyone about his tail. Everywhere he went. Oh, hi, squirrel. Nice tail. Mine's fluffier. Oh, hey there, rabbit. Yeah, you got a little... Your tail's cute. Real cute, but look how long mine is. Always bragging about his tail. He'd love to, you'd have a party, you'd have a get-together, and he'd just come ruin it because everyone would be trying to socialize, and he'd just be standing there yapping and going on, bragging about his beautiful tail. Well, everyone got very tired of this. So, they decided that they were going to do something about it, and we have that meeting coming up, that get-together. Let me deal with organizing that, and I'm gonna have Possum. I'll have it fixed by the time that meeting comes up. Okay, everyone trusted Rabbit to get this done. If anyone could figure out a solution, it would be him. So they left into it. Now he went off, and part of it was his job to tell people when and where these meetings would be because he was a great runner and good at traveling. He could get anywhere. So he went off to get ready and tell people when the meeting was as usual. And when he got to Possum, he said, "Oh, hey, Possum. You know the meeting's coming up, right?" Yeah. Well, we decided, we were talking about it. We decided that maybe we haven't given you enough credence listening to you, and we would like you to be our guest speaker at the meeting. We'd like you to present. and you can talk about you'll have a whole platform. Everyone will be there listening. No one will interrupt. You can tell us everything you want us to know about your beautiful tale. I mean, who else would be appropriate for such an honor? Well, Possum agreed with this, obviously. Who would be as appropriate of a choice? No one was as beautiful as he with such a tale. So he said, yes, I think I should. I will accept your invitation to speak. Great, said Rabbit, and he turned to go, but he stopped. Hey, Possum? Possum, is that dirt on your tail? Dirt? No, I always clean my beautiful tail. Where? Oh, no, it's just a little bit of dust. Must have picked it up, if you maybe brushed the ground or something when you were sitting. Oh, it's fine. No. My tail cannot be. It can't. I'll have to clean it before the meeting. Hey, said Rabbit. You know what? That's a good idea. You should clean it before the meeting. You should go over to the Cricket. You know how he's a great barber. I go to him. I mean, you can see how trim and preen my fur looks. Not like yours, but he's a good barber. You should go there and have him. Just go and ask him for the special treatment. Tell him I sent you, and he'll do it for free. He'll fix up your tail with a special treatment, and it'll be incredible. You'll be surprised. You won't even recognize it come time for the meeting. Well, that sounds like a good idea, said Possum. So Possum went to Cricket to get his tail treated, and he said, hey, Cricket, Rabbit sent me to get a special treating on my tail, because as you know, I'm presenting at the meeting this weekend. The special treatment, said the Cricket. Oh yes, he definitely said the special treatment. Okay then, said Cricket, I'll give you the special treatment. So he went and mixed some stuff up, and he smeared it all over Possum's tail and brushed it in real good, and then he wrapped it up, and he said, okay, you need to let this sit for the rest of the week before you take it off. Let it really soak in, and when you take it off, it'll be all ready. That sounds great to me, said Possum. So he strutted off with his tail wrapped, and he got some funny looks from people, but he was quietly smiling to himself, thinking, yeah, they don't know what's up. They don't know how special this is going to be. And he decided, you know what? I'm going to wait, and I'm going to take this off at the meeting for a big reveal. So the meeting comes, and he gets up, and Rabbit goes, okay, our speaker today is Possum. Everyone groans, right? Well, Possum, he doesn't care. He struts right up. Just kind of all prim, tail and head held high. He said, okay, everyone, I would like to show you my tail. And he grabs the end of the wrap and pulls it off with a flourish. And everyone started laughing. Possum didn't understand. He was smiling so big, thinking of how grand his tail must look, but why are they laughing? He takes a glance and looks over, and all the hair had come off. Possum was so shocked and so embarrassed. He was so shocked that grin stuck on his face. And he was so embarrassed that he decided to just roll over and pretend to be dead for the whole rest of the meeting. He didn't want to talk to anyone. And from then on, that's what he has done. Anytime he comes across somebody steps out in his path, he gets scared. He has a stupid grin on his face that's stuck there, and he rolls over and plays dead in his embarrassment. So that is what happens, and why you too shouldn't be vain.
A great story. Oh my gosh, we've been so lucky to have wonderful stories today. What I'm going to do now is please go ahead and share your comments for all our young tellers in the chat. I think we have a few minutes, so if you want to unmute and let them know, the ones who are here, what a fabulous job they did. I know we'd love to hear it. But first, I want to thank all our young tellers again. Brooke Shackelford Reed, Ashton Rollins, Karen Lee, Rebecca Garcia, and Sanaya McGrew. And I want to thank also their moms who really made things happen. Benita Lee, Claudia Garcia, and Elzina McGrew. Let's give the girls and their mothers and their coaches a round of applause. And thank you all for coming today and seeing the future of storytelling. I think it's in good hands. Now, the next concert is going to start at 4:15, I believe, and this will be the link. So the text may move us into a waiting room. All right.
Uh, Valley was the last girl on video, or was she on Zoom?
It was a video.
Oh, okay. I could hear the birds behind her. That was such a wonderful setting for her nature stories.
Mhm.
Yeah. Great. Thank you for finding them for us.
Well, it certainly was easy to do. I just contacted Tony Simmons and Stephanie Scott. So both of them helped me.
Okay. Well, we need to talk to Tony Simmons and Stephanie, right, for next year to help us out with reaching out to our youth. That's one of my goals for sure.
Mhm.
Oh, Valerie did this. Don't let her fool you.
So where are you, Tony?
Where?
Uh-huh.
I'm currently in Houston.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yes. And
Yeah.
I'm so proud. All of the kids did a wonderful job.
They really did. Mhm.
Yes, they did. I even had my mom come and she came to visit me and she was about to leave. I said, no, you got to listen to them tell their stories. She's, she doesn't get to hear it that often. So she enjoyed it too.
That's great.
Valerie, hearing all these super storytellers makes me want to go back to the classroom and teach some speech again. And because I included storytelling when I was teaching, it makes me want to go back, and they did great jobs. But it makes me want to go back and work with students again, because that was always a joy to work with students and doing storytelling.
Absolutely.
So, Rebecca, when do you head out to Utah?
In September, I believe.
Hmm? So you have to take off school to go.
Yes.
Oh, that's exciting. I don't know if some of you were here at the beginning when Rebecca was telling us that she and her fellow performers today from Zula B. Wiley have been all made the finals of the National Youth Tellers.
So is she from Wiley, Texas? Wiley, Texas? Is that where she goes to school?
No, it's in Cedar Hill. It's the Zula B. Wiley Public Library, but it's in Cedar Hill, Texas.
Oh, and that's in Houston?
No, that's in the Dallas area.
Oh,
I know
Cedar Hill
I'm
is in
confusing you.
yeah.
But I come up and work with the kids in Cedar Hill, or we've been doing it the past 2 years on Zoom. But I used to work at the library, as Jay said. Are you still with the library? Not anymore. That's why I have some contact with them.
Well, my granddaughter is about her age, and she goes to Cattle Mills, and I think they do competition with a school that's called Wiley up there somewhere. I don't know where Cedar Hill is, but I'd love to get her listening to some youth tellers so she can catch the bug.